So my name's Chris Pond. I am going to be talking about how we extend Microsoft Planner into a full project management solution, because obviously planning and scheduling is only part of the journey of managing our projects. So we're going to look at TPG's Project Power Pack, so you'll be able to understand exactly how we can capture all of the other information and work with that to actually help us plan, manage and deliver our projects on a daily basis. All right, so we're going to do a quick episode 1 recap. There was a webinar a couple of weeks ago. You can, and I will send you a link to this during the session. We're going to talk about Planner and the Power Platform and how that works together. Then we're going to look at TPG's Project Power Pack. We'll also have a discussion around TPG Scheduler. So we have a scheduling capability above and beyond what Planner provides. So we'll talk about what that means, and then we'll wrap up in next steps. So in episode 1, we talked about Microsoft Planner. We were talking about the Plan 3 and 5 version, which is the one that gives you more capabilities such as additional dependency types, critical path views, and what have you, just so you're aware of that. Again, there's a bunch of links on this slide deck at the end that you'll be able to access and utilize to understand the different versions and what they mean for you as well. So we looked at the portfolio view, we looked at creating a plan, including with Copilot, so how you can use Copilot, which is in preview at the moment with Planner, to actually say, hey, I'm running this type of project, give me a task list. So it'll give you a task list. It doesn't give you dates and durations at the moment, but again, it does give you a good starting point. We looked at how you can manage your tasks and resources. We viewed all the different views that are available. Like I said, there is now a critical path available, so great if you want to understand the impact of float on your project. How you can start to look at a baseline. So we now have a singular baseline. I'm hoping that there will be additional baselines in the future. And then there's a change view as well. So actually it might be too much to call it an audit view, but definitely there's a way where you can now go, yeah, how has this task changed over time? And then we looked at the project manager agent. So agentic AI is big on everyone's agenda at the moment. Microsoft have a preview in the North American tenants that you can actually access to have a project manager. It's like having an additional team member to help you achieve your project aims and goals. So again, in the episode 1 recap, there is a link to that video so you can see that. So there we go. So that was episode 1. Hopefully this will make you go back and watch that video. We try and keep these things to kind of less than 30 to 45 minutes. So certainly I would say worth your time. So have a look at that. Now, extending Planner with the Power Platform. So, we have Planner. It's going to allow us to create our Gantt chart, our task views, and actually manage our projects. However, that's not everything that's in a project, right? We have all of these other artifacts around our projects, and we need to actually deliver on the project. So we need to track things like risks and issues, financial sides of things. We want to do a bit more around resource management, capture our benefits, lessons learned. Now, you might not be doing all of these things, but how are you actually capturing those? So what I have seen over the years is people have risk logs in Excel. People have Word documents everywhere. They have a status report that is pulled on a Friday afternoon from tasks in their planner, for example. So the milestones, they pull risks from somewhere else, then they mash it up in a Word document or an Excel document. And these are all very manual tasks. And what you're going to see over the next kind of 20 minutes or so is that ability to have that all in one place. So you're not constantly switching applications, and you can have that information when you need it. It doesn't have to be every Friday. Here's my task. Here's my project status document and the like. So that's really where we're going to focus on the extending planner today. So to do that, we're using Microsoft's Power Platform. Planner is actually built on the Power Platform. So it stores its data in something called the Dataverse, which you can see on the right-hand side. It's that kind of green propeller icon. So that's where it stores its data. That data is stored in your tenant, in your environment. So it's yours to do with as you please. And it will always be yours, obviously, as long as you're paying Microsoft their license fee and what have you. I'm sure many of you are aware of Power Apps, so I'm going to keep this kind of short and to the point. So Power Apps allows you to build your own apps, and that's what we're going to look at today. And obviously Power BI, which has been around for, gosh, I've been using it 10 years plus, I think now, allows you to visualize your task and project data in this scenario, and obviously data that you might have from other locations. Power Automate powers the workflows within the Power Apps that we have. There's lots you can do with Power Automate, but for today, we're going to talk about how, for example, we could turn a risk into an issue, for example, and that would enable us to have a risk, click a button, say, actually, the risk has become an issue, take that data and move it to the risk to the issue log instead. Yeah, so how do we make things easier for ourselves? And then the Dataverse, like I said, securely store your data in that one place. There's a lot more to the Power Platform. For example, there are things like Power Pages. If you wanted to create like a site where you work with external people or maybe capture data in that way. And then Copilot Studio allows you to extend Copilot into your own environments. And again, same with AI Builder, and then Power FX is some of the language behind Power Apps. I could run a whole webinar just on Power Platform. So if you want me to do that at some point, let me know. And certainly we will run something that's much more focused just on Power Platform. All right, so let's crack on with this because we've had enough slides, I think. So final two slides. So next kind of few minutes, we're going to look at TPG's Project Power Pack in the Power Platform, and you'll see some views on that on the right. How it interacts with Planner and how that is in one place. And we also have something called TPG Scheduler. So for some organizations who want and need more than Planner can provide, we do have our own scheduling tool as well. So everything you're going to see today is built on the Microsoft Power Platform. We're going to look at how it integrates with Planner. It will also integrate with Project Online, and we'll come back to that as we wrap up with some slides. The benefit of it being on the Power Platform is that from your perspective, you get to utilize all of those great capabilities from Microsoft that they're always evolving, right? So you don't have to wait for us as an organization to kind of build something. We can actually plug that in quite quickly. And this is actually a product. So TPG Project Power Pack, we have a roadmap, we have a development team, and it's built to be able to be deployed very, very quickly. So you could deploy this and begin using it in less than 1 day for sure. If you need changes, there are changes that you can make through configuration, and we can extend that as well. So some of our customers have actually worked with us to extend the product massively built on the Power Platform. And we have regular updates. Like I said, it is a product. So the TPG scheduler part, we'll come back to that towards the end. If you need more than Microsoft Planner, we actually have the ability to look at cross-project dependencies, thousands, maybe 10K plus project tasks, and also additional resource and finance management. Although we will look at the resource and finance management included with Planner. So just to be clear on that. So we're going to look at what's possible now with TPG Project Power Pack. You build it into your Power Platform, and it gives you all of these things like multi-project views. We can have end-to-end project lifecycle. We've got timesheets in there as well. I'm going to show you how that builds into teams and much more. So on that note, I think let's just jump to my share something else. There we go. All right. Okay, so here's TPG Project Power Pack. I'm logged in as someone called Portfolio Manager in this case. And again, we can update it with your colors and logos, so just something to be aware about. And on this one, I can see any actions that I've got, my active projects, any active risks and issues as well. So I can come in here and very, very quickly get to what I want to see. Now, on the left-hand side of the screen, if you check out over here, on the menu item, you can see the things that you'd expect to see. So project requests. We can have a page where people can go in, capture new requests. Then in our projects area, we've got the classic portfolio, program, projects capability, and then actions can come off of tasks within a project. We also have the ability to have a really neat way of looking at resource capacity across all of the projects. And we have dashboards as you'd expect. And then again, for portfolio, if you're looking at selection and prioritization, we have the ability for you to score and rank your projects across your complete portfolio. So let's delve into this. So I think let's look at project requests first. So here's my list of project requests. So the way, if you've used Dynamics 365, for example, this will be pretty familiar to you, but everything is based on lists of things and forms. So for example, I'm actually going to delve into one of these. I'm not going to create one from new. So let's say I wanted to have a project request for auto switch on flow during deployment. If I drill into that, what I will then start to see is details around that. So I can say, what's the title? I could put some details. I could put a value statement in there. We can say who it's requested by, who's the sponsor. And again, all of this is coming from, your Office and Microsoft 365 environment. So, these people are coming from your Active Directory. Again, there's a full security model built into this, so you can define who has access to what functionality onto the system and to the data, all built on what you've already got. So very easy for you to create groups within here. So, portfolio managers, say project managers, team members, and limit their access to what they're supposed to be able to do. So again, you can see the kind of form information that we have here. In this one as well, we can actually say what's driving this. So you don't have to do this, but just to give you an idea, we can say this particular idea is going to help us expand into new markets and segments. It's going to help improve our CSAT score, and it's going to increase market share in existing markets. And again, we can define what impact that has, and then we get a score, and we can look at those scores overall and decide which projects we're going to move forward with. I mean, selection and prioritization, again, is potentially a webinar on its own. But what you can see here is, if you've got a place to collect ideas, it can then go through a workflow. So this one went from new request to request approval. Someone's then looked at it and actually approved that. So again, you can build those workflows, those business process workflows into the tool set, and we'll see another one of those shortly. So this one is specifically for project requests. So once, if you go down this route, in this particular example, we're going to have a project request that then becomes a project, right? Doesn't have to start that way. I have customers who just go straight to projects. So again, very configurable in terms of what you can achieve. And when I say configuration, let's just be really precise about that. Configuration for me means I can go into an administration screen of some sort, make a change. I don't need a developer. I don't particularly need TPG in the business. So again, we have built this so we can deploy it quickly. You can utilize it and get up and running quickly. If you need to extend it in some ways, we can certainly support you with that. So different ways to actually engage with the product and with TPG. So let's have a look at the next piece. We've got our project requests. We can then do the classic, approach of here's my portfolio, right? So in here, I can see here's my sickness portfolio. It's got 10 projects in it, total budget, total forecast, what actuals. So we can actually see all of that data. If I drill into it, I can start to see some more information about it. I can see the projects that are within it. Yeah. And I can also look at the priorities for those particular projects as well. Now, the key thing here is it's just a way of me grouping that data. So I can look at it in various ways. So I could create, as you saw, multiple portfolios with multiple projects and see how they roll up and summarize. So it's a really great way for me to be able to get to that information super quickly. From there, we can have programs. And again, in the program view, let's have a look at my, I think it's Sirius program I want to look at. So I can look at that and I can see which projects make up that particular program. Yeah. So again, I'm able to roll up, see that information very quickly. And then let's get to the bit that most people are probably interested in, the projects. So here are all my projects. Now again, different views are available in here. I can see my active projects, I can get different summaries, I can look at it by, say, project priority. So I have that ability to have different views available for me. Again, depending on my access rights, I have the ability to say which columns I want to see. So it's very pretty intuitive for people to utilize and be able to make their own views as well. So you can see here, you can manage and share views depending on your access rights. So let's look at all projects. Now, the great thing here is this is all everything I'm interested in. I can also pin things to the left-hand side. So I always want to be able to go to look at my PPM implementation project. So I can click on that and it's going to drill down into that particular project. So again, you've got the familiar kind of form view. At the very top, this is my business process view. Yeah, so in our particular project lifecycle, it goes from initiating to planning to executing to controlling and then closing. Now, again, you could have different project life cycles for different types of projects, for example. So again, you could have a different project type. So if we had a look down here, in this one, we've got different projects. Yeah. So we've got weekend projects, course week projects, depending on what type of project is, you might think small, medium, large. That will have an impact potentially on which project lifecycle you work. So very straightforward for people to do that. Now on here, we can see the general data about the project, the name of it, who's running it, what program it belongs to, which department is looking after it. And again, this data is set up, it's centrally controlled. So again, you build a department list, you put your programs in, your portfolios and what have you. And you can see that this actually came from a project request called PMO implementation. So again, you can create those links between the life cycle of your project. On the right-hand side, we've got our project KPIs. I've gone all green, obviously. In this one, these are subjective. So I can define whether they're red, amber, or green, or yellow in this case, of course. And then on the right-hand side, the project estimates are fields that are rolling up from various different areas within this project. So the total budget and the forecast and actual, so they are all rolling up. Now, at the level just below the business process workflow, you can see the different capabilities we have in here. So let's have a look at our PPM implementation project. I'm going to look at the schedule, and you'll notice that this is my planner plan. Here's the grid view, we have the board view, we have the timeline view. Let's zoom in there a bit, there we go. And the great thing here is, of course, I'm not having to context switch. So I'm still within TPG Project Power Pack, but I can continue to work in one place. Really good. It's a great benefit. You're not having to switch context. You're able to continue your flow of work, shall we say. So again, I could update my project schedule directly within here. I think the key thing here is really that what you're starting to see is that when people talk about planning is just one part project management and schedule management, project management, of course. So we've got our project details. We have our schedule in here. Now from TPG, Project Power Pack also gives you the ability to capture your financial data. Now, often this is done externally in Excel, but here we have the ability to capture different cost types like forecast, budget, and actual with different cost categories. And again, these are configurable. and different expense types. Yeah. So again, you can come in here and you can enter your data. It actually kind of works much like Excel, right? So I can, drag and drop and what have you. I can see if I want to show or not see that particular chart. And in fact, if I come in here, I can pivot the data and see it in a different way. So rather than you having to have your data in yet another place like Excel, by having it in our financial area, that then enables you to roll up and summarize that data across all of your projects and programs and portfolios and report on it. So again, great time saver, stay in one place, see all that information. Now, within your project schedule, you're going to have resources, typically, working on your tasks. And we've also created something called resource plan. Now, what the resource plan does is, in this scenario, it actually allows us to do two things. One is we can create a very simple resource plan within here, and then we can actually compare it to what we're actually doing within the project plan. So I can sync data actually from my plan, so from that plan, and it will pull that through. And then what I'm also able to do is start to even add more work for people just to see what the impact would be. So what we can see here is that if I hover over Thomas, he's doing project closure. His availability for the period is actually 20 and a half days. Yeah, and he's got some other, but it doesn't look like he's got much work on. He's got half a day somewhere. There we go. If we start to look over here for Florian, in February, he's overloaded, right? He's got minus 7.92 days in that case, and we can actually see that. Now we can do future planning, so I can come in here and go, well, actually, I think I'm going to need 5 of Thomas's time across that. And what we'll look at in a moment is how we can actually see that across all of the projects. Now, again, I see this a lot. People use an Excel spreadsheet for kind of future resource planning. What we give you with Project Power Pack is the ability to do that within the tool set and then roll up and summarize that data to understand the difference between your future high level plan in this solution and what you're actually planning to achieve within the planner itself. So hopefully that makes sense to you. In here, this is just future planning. Hey, I think I'm going to need Thomas for like 5 days over, 5 days per month across the next period. And then we can compare that across all of the work that he's been planned in a moment. So we'll look at that. All right. So what we've seen then is see all my project details, see my schedule, understand what the costs are for my project, remove one Excel spreadsheet, understand what my future and current plans are by integrating both that Excel spreadsheet that you might be using and the plan data from your schedule and start to understand that capacity. I can also obviously see my key milestones. So if I've got milestones in my project schedule, it will show me those. So I can just actually have those as one view. And then I can create my status update. So for example, let's do that now, just do a quick one. If I come in here, I get that form opening on the right-hand side. I can say, right, this is report for today. What's my summary? All okay. Who am I submitting this to? I'm going to submit it to Alessandro. And then I can start to say, right, what tasks have I accomplished? What did I miss? What was planned? Any sponsor actions? So again, we're staying in the flow of work. We're staying in one location. I'm not having to go out to a Word document to do this. This is all coming into and stored in one location. And then when we look at reporting towards the end, you'll actually be able to see the benefit of that. So have that, and I can see the status of the project over time, of course. I can see project started well. We're doing the deployment. Yeah, we've selected the plan, so on and so forth. So again, great way to see all of that information. Now, last couple of things in here. Obviously, in the background, this is also connected to, or can be connected to, a team site and to SharePoint. So we can also store all of our documents in here. I've got my project charter, I've got some supplier information, and that's all available to me for one place. So again, not having to jump to which SharePoint site is this in? Which team site is this in? Yeah, it's a great way for me to keep rolling with my work. Now, risks. Now, within the solution, many of you will have a RAID log. Yeah, with the solution here, again, we can have all of that in one place. I'm only going to show you risks because everything else kind of has that form-based view. So we have a risk matrix, so I can see which of those particular tasks or risks are going to cause me issues. So by clicking on 3, so I can there are 3 at the kind of 4 likelihood and consequence is 5. I can see that. Now, if I wanted to, I could drill into that. Insufficient budget. It's going to take me in to see that. I can see the risk name, who owns it, the state of it. Yeah, so let's add that to active. Yeah, which category is it in? So things like state and category, these are all configurable items that we can change, or you can change based on your terminology in your organization. Yeah, and that's again, this is what we've done here is take and kind of really pull together TPG and our great team of people's experience and really kind of just push that into this is the best way for you to work and give people that ability to use this app very, very quickly. So let's say I wanted to create a new risk, click new risk, there you go. I get the form, I can fill it in, and away we've gone. So I haven't had to go out to Excel, go out to a SharePoint list. Everything's in one particular place. You can then start to see other things. Here's issues. We can have a change log, actions associated with our tasks if we wish. What decisions are we making? Look, here's our stakeholders. Yeah, what objectives do we want? So on and so forth. We also have a timesheet, but I'm going to come to that in a moment. So as you can see here, if you're a PM or anybody associated with running the project, you can see all the information you need in one location. Now, if you're a resource manager, for example, let's look at our resource plans. This resource plan view is actually summarizing all of the data from the plans and also what people are expecting to happen from the schedule. So we can start to see by project in this case, yeah, and we can look at it in different ways. I've just chosen project on this occasion. We can see where we've got availability or where we've got overloads because of what people think is going to happen or isn't going to happen as well. So a really great way for us to do that. So you can see here, there are those 55555s that I added. Yeah. So I can see if he's overloaded, yeah, in red, if everything's looking good in green. Amber is starting to show us they're a bit overloaded, of course, as well. So great view to be able to see what our resources are planned to do and where they're planned to do it. We've left it at that kind of monthly view because, again, our experience has been you would then go and look at the project to see the details. But really, really super way to be able to see that information. And then we can start to see things like what's the total capacity across our teams, and what's that looking like? So that capacity means that we can start to understand, okay, how does our load change over time? What does that mean in terms of getting more work in, for example, or being able to move some of that work around? So the type of thing that, you don't get out of the box, obviously, with Planner. Hence the point of having TPG Project Power Pack. So last bit I'm going to just talk around in here. Dashboards. As you can imagine, we've also taken all of our experience, pulled those into a suite of reports that are available to you. So we're using Power BI. There are over 40 reports here. My honest opinion is most organizations don't need 40 reports. So let's just have a look at a couple of these. So we've got portfolio, project and requests, and resource reports. So if you were interested in what all the risks across the organization, then again, we could start to look at that particular data. Yeah. So I don't need to go and open multiple Excel spreadsheets, and we've all had that experience where we've got a risk log and I've updated mine slightly and added an extra column. So that means that when I want to roll up that data, it's convoluted, it doesn't work well. This is a great thing about having all of your information in one central location. We can see all of the risks all of the time, all of the issues all of the time. Yeah, we can see that kind of data. If I wanted to get a timeline view of my portfolio, I could start to see that information. Yeah. If I wanted to understand what effort is happening in terms of resources and the like, yeah, I can start to see that. So we get a great way for us to be able to see all the information sliced in any kind of number of ways. I can look at it from our resources as individuals, by department, for example. Yeah, so just want to see what's going on in IT. Let's look at that, and I can see that particular information. So super, super great ways of being able to understand what's happening with, say, our resources, our projects, our people, across everything that we're currently planning, managing, and delivering. Yeah. And that's the great thing about using TPG Project Power Pack with Planner, is that ability to understand, hey, this is everything that we're currently working on. This is the impact of change on our business. This is the impact of change on our customers' projects or our internal projects. So we really get that great visibility across the organization from one place, removing all of that Excel and just being able to move forward. Now, if you're a team member, yeah, we have that ability to have an app actually directly within Teams as well. And in this case, I'm looking at the timesheet view. So here's my project. I'm just booking some time. It's been a great week. I wasn't on site. And once I've got this, I can literally just push it forward, and submit it. That would then go to my line manager in this occasion, and they can approve it. So we have that ability to go and add tasks. Yeah, I can go and add tasks from different projects. Yeah, show the completed ones if I want to. Yeah, add those, and then record my time and have that again in one location. So you can start to understand your plan, your actuals from your team members. Yeah, and then the impact on your forecast, of course. So we have all of that in that one location. I can also see all of my tasks. So we have that ability to pull things such as the action items that I have, but also again, different views. What are my tasks? What are my active project items? So as a team member, you can have a view that's very specific for you. Now I'm conscious of the time, so I just want to talk about TPG's scheduler. We put this in place because Planner works really, really well, but we have some customers who need something that delivers more than Planner, right? So within here, you can see we've got exactly the same view. So we've got project details, yeah. We've got our project board, resource plan, financials, risks, issue, and everything. But on this occasion, we've plugged in the TPG scheduler. And what that allows us to see is this particular information. Now, again, here's my plans. I can create dependencies. I can do everything that I need to do within my particular project. The other thing, though, I can do is let's just look at one of my tasks. Here we go. So I'm going to do what I wanted it to do. Of course, the demo gods. Oh, I did do it. There we go. Okay, so here's my task. And if I click on it, I get the type of information that you'll have seen in Microsoft Project in the past, for example. So here's the details about my project. Here's predecessors, successors I can add in here. I can add resources and assign them to tasks. There's more advanced options, like what type of scheduling mode are we using? Is it effort driven? Do I want to ignore resource calendars? I can also add notes to this particular item. So we have a load of additional capabilities. We also have manually schedule, which you may remember turned up in Project 2013, if I remember. But the other thing with this is this will go to over 10,000 tasks. The other addition is we have different views here. So we have a timeline view that we can see, right? We can show resource utilization within the TPG scheduler at the same time. So we're pulling that data in. We can show our critical path. We can squeeze it up so we can see more information. So this is very much for those people who need something more than Planner provides. Yeah, we can actually do that. So you can also see over here, for example, we've set things up like payment milestones. We can see that there are task resources. We can see that this has incoming into project links as well. We have different columns that we can actually add in here, very much like you will have used on project in the desktop view. So the key thing here that I just wanted to kind of finish off with is we do have inter-project dependencies. So if you need to create dependencies between your projects, you can absolutely do that in here. So I can create an inter-project. I'd say, which project is it? Yeah. Let's say it's Project Battle. I then say, which task is it? Create design. What's the date? I'm interested in when it's going to finish. And then the consumer is this project. So which task, right? I'm going to say, I can drill into this. I'm going to say it's that task. What's the relevant date? The start. Yeah. Add a note to be confirmed. Save and close. And we can then start to see that. And you can see immediately, gosh, what's the difference between these two particular tasks, right? So really great way for you to be able to see that information and deal and manage with cross-project dependencies. So if you have a need that goes above Planner, talk to us about how TPG Scheduler could bridge that gap between Planner and Project Align, for example, if you're using that. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to jump back to my slides. I'm very conscious of the time. All right, so we've looked at TPG Project Power Pack, how it takes what you are doing around scheduling and then really extends it, enabling you to get rid of all of your Excel spreadsheets and the like. Yeah, so Planner is our next generation PPM. Yeah, we've got Power Apps and Power BI we've looked at Planner, Dataverse for our database. And then we've looked at TPG Project Power Pack and the TPG Scheduler. So that's what we've just looked at, how we can get all of that information in one place, not have to swap context all the time, and make sure that we've got really good repeatable ways of working. We've looked at extending Planner with Power Platform, obviously. Yeah, so we've looked at all of that. I've demoed that, showed you the capabilities. That's deployable in days, like 1 day or less, if you wish to. Obviously, the weak side of things, if you want us to support you with training, adoption and change, any process work that you may have. If you're using Project Online, then again, that's still something. It's so a couple of there was a question actually from Mark. Project Server. I am aware that Project Server is actually going to be available till 2031 nowadays as well. So again, something to consider in terms of their long-term support. Obviously, there is Project Online still, and Project Online can be configured to work with this. So if you're using Project Online, awesome, continue to use it, right? Here, this is what you have today. So lots of customers using Project Online have the Project Online database, Project on the desktop, Project Web App, and Power BI. What we will say to you is, actually, you could continue to use Project and the Project Online database, but all of those things that you maybe do in the SharePoint sites, yeah, you could move to TPG's Project Power Pack. And it, just to be aware, I can't remember the exact date, but later in 2026, Microsoft will be turning off any workflows in SharePoint based on 2013. So you will need to, if you're using any of those kind of SharePoint workflows, then you will need to move off of that and move towards using Power Automate and Power Apps and the like. So this is how we can go hybrid with Project and with Project Online and the Microsoft Power Platform by using, if you want to, you can use Planner with that, but using TPG Project Power Pack that you've just seen, that will bring that all together. You have the option for TPG Scheduler as well, if you wish to. And if you really want to go the whole hog, this is everything that you could do. So this is something that we have done with customers. This is about bringing your own scheduling tool, for example, bringing your own earned value tool, bringing your own risk management tool. But using the toolsets that we have at TPG, which would be Project Power Pack, and TPG's PS Link, which we're going to talk about in more detail in the next webinar, which is in 2 weeks today, which I know for some of you is Ascension Day and you may be on holiday. We don't do that in the UK, so we will be running it, but you'll be able to follow up afterwards. This view shows you what you could actually do. So we do have customers using Primavera for their planning, but then using EVA through Deltek Cobra and risk management, and then we bring that all together to give them that kind of singular view. All right, so types of roles here, like we say, you can bring your own work management tool, the different types of scheduling tools that you might have. So Azure DevOps, Jira, Primavera, TPG Scheduler, Project, Planner, all of those. So if you're an exec, we can help you. We can help you with that strategic program and portfolio management side of things. If you're a project or program manager, then you can use what we've seen today to obviously manage your day-to-day management of your projects. Obviously, we also support cross-project resource and task management. And again, we have different levels of that depending on whether you're using Planner or you are using TPG Scheduler. So really great way for everyone in the organization to be able to use that. And obviously, we have the team member add-in if you want team members to be able to access that. So let's wrap this up. Conscious of the time, just over. So Planner, there is a planner that you can just start using today. Microsoft have renamed a load of stuff recently, To Do, Planner, Planner Premium, but there is a planner in your Microsoft 365 environment. Again, we'll send you links to those, but start using it. You could use Planner with our TPG Project Power Pack, and that's what I'd ask you to get started with. You can use Planner, you can use TPG Scheduler, you can use other scheduling tools as well, and you can see what licenses you need there. Maybe you don't want to use Planner, that's an option. You could just use TPG's Project Power Pack and the Power Apps and use our scheduling tool. So again, that is another option for you. Why might you do that? If you have if you've got specific needs around multi-project management, if you've got very large schedules, then we can support that. And again, as you just saw, Project Online and beyond, we can really, if you're an organization working across various different applications to help manage your projects, and you want that kind of single pane of glass to be able to report and manage your projects, then we can do that. Again, whatever you need, you can talk to us and we can tell you about what we've done with other customers. So if you'd like to, we have a PPM Paradise is what it's called. It's a book about best practice ways of working, setting up a PMO or improving your PMO. We'll send you a link so you can download that. It's really, really good. It's tool set agnostic, just talks about, okay, have you thought about this? Have you considered that? And then I'd like to stop now by saying thank you. Thank you for your time. I've overrun by a couple of minutes. If you'd like to know more, just book some time with me. We can sit down, understand what it is you want to achieve. There's no fee and no commitment, right? But what I aim to do is educate people, give them the information they need to make informed decisions. There is one more webinar in this particular series where we'll be talking more around that integration. How can we automate and integrate various different aspects? TPG has a big history with integrating project tools into SAP, but actually that's extended over the years now. So we integrate, as you've seen, with things like Azure DevOps, Jira, and the like. And we can talk to you about that in the next episode. Should we call it an episode? And there's a bunch of fact sheets that you can also download. So we'll share this with you. Keep in touch with me. I would like to say, thank you very much to everyone who joined today. Thanks very much.